Hi there, welcome. This is Lisa with Queen Bee Creations. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I go live right here on YouTube and Facebook every Monday and Thursday at 2:30, showing you guys some fun tutorial involved in paper crafting. Usually it's a fun fold card. Things are no different today. Today we're doing this Joy Fold card using the More Than Autumn bundle from the new mini catalog. If you're one of my customers, you should have, at least a week ago, received the new mini catalog. It is filled with all kinds of fun stuff. And I'm also using a pattern from book 1 of my tutorials. If you don't know, I have 2 tutorial books out. They are 50 fun fold patterns each and are for sale on my website. I wanted to do something kind of fall, you know, now that we're in September, I feel like we can finally kick off fall. I'm tired of all the very hot weather, and I wanted to play around with some fun fall patterns. So, this More Than Autumn bundle has lots of cool things in it because it's got donuts and pumpkin spice, peppermint, eggnog, apples. You can do apple cider, pumpkin spice, peppermint hot cocoa, just all sorts of combinations that you can pull out of this set, making it very, very versatile. There are the stamps that go with it, and then there are the dies. The dies cut out the stamped images, but then they also have some standalone dies. We're using the ones that coordinate with stamps for today's card, but you can look back in my previous ones and see what I've done with it before, because I did use some of the standalone dies. Louise is asking about Prize Patrol. I got a bunch of those mailed yesterday. I mailed out of a stack of about 6 of them yesterday. I was a little bit behind because of my vacation. I spent 3 weeks in New Mexico, and so a couple of them went out a little bit late. So I do apologize for that, but they are on their way. For today's card, we're going to do a Joy Fold card. So to start with this, we need a base. I'm using Pool Party. So my base here is 4 1/4 by 8 1/4, scored at 5 1/2, and I put the short side on the front. Then I have a second card base, and this one is 2 3/4 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. So this is going to fold into the middle here. So that's our base. For the designer series paper, I'm using the Snowy Seams. I just thought this was really pretty. I looked through some of my fall papers. I don't know, I wasn't finding anything that was really striking my fancy, but I liked these colors together. So I'm going to do a 4 by 5 1/4 for the inside. And then I have a 4 by 2 1/2. That's going to be this piece here. Sorry about that. That one's going to go there. I have 2 more that are 4 by 5 1/4. No, they're not. They're 2 3/4 by 4. There's going to be one for the front of the card that is petal pink, and then a white one for the inside. I decided I wanted a white layer on here, and I've got one of those 1/8 inch borders. So if you don't like this, you can just do the white on the front and not use the bordered of the pink, or you can make it a little bit smaller. I wouldn't suggest much smaller because our words barely fit on there. But this one, I laid it in the trimmer and I went, okay, just a hair less than 2 1/2 and a hair less than 4. So those are all of our layers. Then I have a scrap piece of paper here that I'm going to be doing the coffee and the donut, because I'm going to stamp those and then die cut them out, and we will pop them up on dimensionals. So I'm going to bring in some stamps and ink. I'm going to use Pecan Pie. I use my Simply Chamois to clean the photopolymer stamps. I went ahead and cut mine into fourths just so they're easier to work with. And then I'm going to color using the Stampin' Blends. Sticking with this 3-color combo, I'm going to color our coffee cup, kind of a craft color, so I'm using our Pecan Pie. I'm going to start on the edge, and I'm doing little flicking motions. So by kind of laying it down and flicking up, we get a little bit of a, I want to say an ombre effect kind of, but just it's darker at the edges than in the middle. And then I'm going to go over it with the lighter one, and I'm going to go right over the top, but extend a little further. Because I want the two colors to blend. And the way they're going to blend is that the inks will blend. They'll mix together. So I need the inks to be fairly heavy. If you do these and they're not blending, you probably don't have enough ink laid down. And that's why we use a opposite medium to color with, because the more ink you lay down, the more it's going to blend. That's going to blend like mediums. So all of our alcohol inks are all going to blend together. So what's under there is a water-based ink, because a water-based ink will not blend with the alcohols. And we're going to do that in reverse. If you're going to do watercoloring, then you want to have an alcohol-based ink so that your water-based colors will all blend together. Because I already had these colors in our color scheme here, I'm coloring the donut with the lighter Pecan Pie. And then we'll color the frosting using Petal Pink. And this is all out of the Snowy Scenes Designer Series paper. I kind of pulled our color scheme from that for the pool party and the Petal Pink together. So it kind of gives us a wintry theme. Pink, so I have Petal Pink and Pool Party. Stamp a little heart in the middle here. And then I'm going to color that. The tip on this one's starting to go a little funky, and so you may notice that the tips on these Stampin' Blends markers don't hold up really well. I'm kind of disappointed about that. I absolutely love our markers, and I love that they're color coordinated, but the tips are not fabulous. And so I have found a way to replace the nibs in these with something I found on Amazon. So you might want to look back into my prior videos and see the video on how I replaced the nibs. Loretta's asking about the Twist and Pop card. I know that was mailed before I left. You should have gotten that one by now, because I know that was a little on the thick side, so I had to take it down to the post office and they charged me some extra postage on it. I do remember that because it was thicker than most cards. Okay, now I want to die cut these. Let me get this out of the way so I don't stick an elbow in it. And I'm going to bring in our mini die cutting machine and the dies. So I'm going to use plate number 1, and then I've got plate number 2, and I'm going to set down the cardstock. And I have the donut ring and the cup. And so I just kind of set them on there and hope for the best. A lot of people get a little frustrated with that. You may want to consider using some washi tape or a little post-it note, something to hold the dies in place if you're worried they might shift. Then I'm going to put another plate number 2 on top and run them through. Oh, we forgot our blue. We forgot the pool party. So we still have the sleeve of our cup to do. I apologize. I can hear the dogs barking, so if you can hear them, I apologize. They are in the backyard. No idea what they're barking at. Again, I'm using this flicking motion from the side. This has got a much stiffer tip. This must be one that I replaced already. You can definitely feel the difference. Okay, now we can start putting our card together. So I'm going to start with our base. And I'm going to use Stampin' Seal. Stampin' Seal is a continuous double-sided tape. The trick is to make it break off at the tip here so that when you set it down onto your paper the next time, it starts right away. So I kind of give it a little bit of a flick or a check mark, but something at the end that ensures that it breaks off up here and that the tip is sticky. As long as I do that, I haven't had any problems with it. The other thing you want to do is you want to keep the case very, very clean. If some residual adhesive gets stuck on here, it might have a tendency to try to grab the adhesive coming off the new roll. So make sure that those two sides don't have any excess. You should be good. Okay, so I need to keep an eye on this because two of these, one of the whites was exactly the same size and one's a little bit smaller, so I don't want to mix those two up. If you keep these, if you just do two whites without the pink, you won't have this problem. Oh, and we need to do our stamping on the one. So remember, because the base of our card opens on the right side, we want this to open on the left. That's how it's considered the joy fold, because it's going to do kind of an interlocking here. And then what I want to do is center this one in the overall as if it was a layer, but then it's going to open up and go that way. Okay, so again, I'm going to make sure I have the right one. The smaller one's going to go on the outside. And so that's where I wanted to put You Had Me at Donuts. And I'm going to actually put this one up a little higher than the first one because this one didn't give me a whole lot of room for my cup. Donuts I'm going to do in Petal Pink. And then I'm going to bring in some mini dimensionals. Thank you to everyone who is remembering to put in hashtag Prize Patrol. That is how you get entered into the drawing to win today's card. I mailed them out with a regular postage stamp, so I apologize I don't have any tracking on them, but I do promise they get mailed. Let's do a little more stamping for the inside. So I'm going to use the donut once again. And I'm just going to stamp some across the bottom. Oh, and I have a hello. When I mount the words on a stamp block, I will lay the stamp down onto the surface on a line, one of the grid lines, and then I'm going to line my block up with the grid line as well when I pick it up. And so if this is straight and this is straight, I get my best impression stamping on my card. Hoping that we are good and straight. A little more quick coloring. I also appreciate those of you who give me a thumbs up and like and comment and all those good things on my videos. That does help me get seen by others. So I really appreciate it when you share me with your friends. Hopefully you're getting some good ideas. These dogs barking are driving me bonkers. I hope you can't hear them. They stayed here when I went to New Mexico to visit my daughter. And so they were home all day without my husband because he works in a cabinet shop. So obviously he's not here during the day to tell them to be quiet. And I think they picked up some bad habits I'm going to need to break them of. So you'll notice I'm doing a little bit of dark on the one side. One of the things you want to do when you're coloring is you want to figure out like where your light source is coming from so that your shadows fall in the right areas. You might want to, if you're coloring a bird or a tree or something that you can find a photo of online, it might be good to look at it, or maybe even photocopy it in grayscale so that you can see where the light and dark areas fall. It's kind of a trick for coloring. Okay. So this one's going to go on the inside. If attaching these skinny little border layers give you trouble, then you may want to use liquid glue, because the liquid glue will give you a little bit of wiggle time. I did find someone finally that was able to 3D print these cute little caddies for me. And so that's one of the things I'm going to add to my website, because some people have seen it and asked me about it. I have a pattern where you can make it out of paper, or you can buy the 3D printed one off my website. But it's a fun little way to hold all of the Stampin' Up! Adhesives all in one area. So this one I've attached with dimensionals, and so there's a little bit of a pop to it. And this one I've adhered flat. And so I don't know if you can tell the difference on camera, but there's definitely a little something extra in person with the one that has the mini dimensionals on it. It doesn't change the overall look of the card, it just gives it a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to look back for any questions while I wait for you to put in hashtag prize patrol. Looks like somebody entered it with a little bit of a misspelling. You want to enter it as the others have been doing. There we go. Hashtag and then prize patrol all run together as one word. And actually StreamYard is what gives me the ability to do that, because StreamYard collects all the names in the background. It's the software I use to go streaming with. And they've actually just done a huge price increase and made it $45 a month. So I'm going to have to be switching to a different software, and I'm going to have to figure out how to do prize patrol, because it won't be built into the software anymore, which is kind of a bummer. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. If you did ask a question and I missed it, I apologize. I never intend to miss anything. So if you did ask a question, I missed it, please ask again. And there we go. People are putting in hashtag prize patrol. So I can go ahead and remove our project and add the wheel. And see who our winner is. So Janet is our winner. Congratulations to Janet. What you want to do is go to my website, queenbeecreations.net, and then in the address bar after the .net, you're going to put /prize patrol. That will take you to a Google form where you can claim your prize and tell me where you would like it mailed to. So congratulations to Janet. And thank you to the rest of you for joining me and crafting along or watching me as I craft. There we go. I really appreciate your support and for being here with me. And of course, everything I use is Stampin' Up! Related and is available to purchase through me as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I totally appreciate your support, so much so that I give you 6 tutorials in PDF format, as well as a little craft along card kit to make a card with me the following month. So I will see you back here on Monday again at 2:30 for another live paper crafting event. Thank you so much. Bye.